Mthunzimaka. Now, in the wake of Ms. Johnson's departure from office, he has undertaken to follow up on these documents in keeping with the relevant protocols within IDAC and the NPA. We will report to the other side, perhaps after lunch, if we do not have anything immediately after tea. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bodlani.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Bodlani, and thank you, Advocate Johnson. Advocate Johnson, yesterday when we parted, we had dealt with the 4 supplementary statements that were commissioned by Investigator Rapesu.
Correct.
And from your previous testimony, I'd understood that there was a referral affidavit and then followed by the supplementaries.
Correct.
So there are 4. And on my understanding then, if there are 4, if we go to file 9, okay, Chair, this is now we grab file 9. Starting at page 3487, that's CJC 394. So and this is my analysis, I would understand that based on the supplementary affidavits received, 4 quote-unquote independent investigations then were triggered.
Yes.
Would that be fair? And the first, starting with the supplementary at 3487, relates to the issue of the forklift. We discussed that yesterday.
Correct.
Is that the one? The second would be at 3489, and this relates, as paragraph 3 indicates, to high-ranking officials, security clearances, and promotions.
Correct.
The third one is at 3491. This is concerning General Lushaba. And the last would be, the use of Secret Service funds to purchase resources for the PKTT. So those are the 4 that I have managed to pick up. I think at the ad hoc, you indicated there were 6 independent investigations. Do you recall that?
Yes.
What are the other 2, and what are they based on? If not on the supplementaries that we have at CJC 394.
So how I understand them was the Lushaba matter, which is in court, falls under Valeria docket.
Yes.
Then we have the Mokwele matter under the Brooklyn 542. Then there's the General Skumalo and General Madondo matter, Brooklyn 543.
Okay.
And then there's the Langlachte matter, which we had yesterday.
Yes.
And that the other matters that would have been looked at would have fallen within the inquiry. So in terms of the matters they were looking at, it was the housebreaking, it was vetting, it was housebreaking, it was appointment, it was vetting, appointment again, it was forklift. I know that I am missing one. you'll just give me a moment, I am missing one.
Okay, take your time.
I am missing one. And because I also asked for this breakdown, Chair and Commissioners, from the team on Friday, for me to have clarity, simply because I'm not involved directly in the investigations, how those investigations were. And sorry, the last one was the alleged manipulation of the procurement processes.
Is the manipulation of procurement processes not, didn't we agree that the Langlaagte one?
Yes, so what they've done in Langlaagte, from what I understood, they would perhaps be able to explain better, is Langlaagte looked at forklifts and procurement. That would be two. And then there's the other matters that I have given you. They didn't have, it's four files.
Yes.
Langlaagte has forklift and contracts. And the one matter that we did give as well, that wasn't Langlaagte, yes, that makes it 6, is the matter we disclosed on Sunday evening, Chair, where we indicated it is still under consideration, but it does deal with appointments and vetting, and that matter is still under investigation. That would then make those matters 6.
Okay. Please turn to file 2, page 512, a document that we've all become fairly familiar with. That is 512, file 2. That would be Mr. Adams' section 27 referral. Now, at paragraph 5, page 514, Mr. Adams states that he suspects that some funds became taken unlawfully from the secret fund and given to Police Minister Becky Cele. Then the next allegation is the former police minister was also involved in appointing General Khumalo as the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence without an interview process and without Khumalo having worked as a senior manager in crime intelligence. So I read that to be two complaints. For my current purposes, I'm interested in the second, which really relates to how General Khumalo was appointed as the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence by the former police minister. And I'll stop there. The second complaint is, as I've just summarized it. And that particular issue, we don't have a supplementary affidavit to provide any further detail. As paragraph 5 is currently worded, how does that bring the matter within the mandate of IDAC? The fact that the former police minister appointed General Khumalo as the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence without an interview process and without General Khumalo having worked as a senior police manager in crime intelligence.
I know the commissioners will correct me. If yesterday, I think I did recollect touching on it and indicating that this would become one of those matters where, with regards vetting and appointment, the matter would have to, it doesn't fall within the mandate. and the matter would have to be dealt with as we discussed, Commissioners, with the Mokwele matter, the standing order, and a recommendation of what must happen with that. And I said in a similar vein that that must happen then with the Langlaagte matter with regards to the forklift. I'll just have to say here, I don't have an official position, but what I must do responsibly in a handover is write these up before the end of this week. I'm not sure who would act in that position, but write these up, summarize my point of view as conveyed to the Commission with what I conveyed should happen, and have that matter then escalated to the acting and copied to the National Director, because that would be the only safeguard I have, Commissioners, for them to then deal with the matters as we have now resolved.
Okay. But just for our purposes, what's set out in paragraph 5 does not relate to vetting. It's a slightly different issue. It's his appointment generally as the divisional head of crime intelligence. That is the complaint. And that is the one that you, as couched, you would say IDAC would not have mandate over.
Correct.
Staying with with file 9.
Staying with paragraph 5, good morning.
Good morning.
The first part of that paragraph 5, the suspicion of funds being unlawfully taken from the secret fund to former Minister Begicele, it seems to me that out of this whole affidavit, this would be the one that obviously would fall within the mandate of IDAC to investigate.
Correct.
You accept that?
I accept that.
Okay. Was anything done about it? Was any further statements taken? Was any investigation initiated on this allegation?
Commissioner Baloyi, I am not sure how far the investigation team has gone or what they would have done in relation to this matter.
But you would know if an investigation was conducted. I mean, you know about the others.
Yes.
Something was done and they've been classified into 6 legs that you can speak to.
Correct.
It's fair to say you would know if there was an investigation into this as part of the briefings that you are getting arising from this section 27.
Correct, and I didn't receive a briefing on this.
And so until there is evidence that there was an investigation, it is fair to surmise that nothing came out of this.
I have nothing to gainsay your proposition.
Yes. Now, directing this to you, you've seen this affidavit,
Correct.
this section 27. You've told us it came to you. When you realize, I mean, you familiarized yourself with this and you were satisfied, as you have told us, that, that there was a case to be investigated further. When you see this, do you not ask, don't you say to them, what is happening about that allegation about Minister Cele? How come I'm not hearing anything about it?
Commissioner, I know that in the section 2813,
Yes.
that would have been one of the matters as they were broken up and authorized. So I didn't ask questions about how far they were with each investigation. They presented each leg of investigation as they got to their completion. I didn't specifically ask about this, but I do know it forms part of the authorization of the investigation.
You see, it's the one allegation that I would have expected or thought it would catch your attention, because it is the most serious of the allegations, but more importantly, it is the one allegation that squarely falls within your mandate, and yet you went on, your investigators, but including you, because you were getting briefings, you signed off on a prosecution memorandum, you signed off on whatever was happening, the formal steps that needed to be taken, but the one allegation in this affidavit that falls squarely within your mandate, or would fall within your mandate if there is any merit to it, it's quite curious that it is the one that you don't get involved with, that you are unable to speak to. that you don't seem to have paid attention to. And that's quite a curiosity in the circumstances, considering that the rest of the affidavit has nothing to do with IDAC, right? The other allegations, they have absolutely, if you have fairly considered, have absolutely nothing to do with the mandate of IDAC, but the one that has is the one that nothing is done about. And again, it raises the question, what in fact was going on? Why this misdirection? And it cannot be oversight. You know, it can't be. There was a deliberate decision to focus on the others. Hopefully we will find out why. But this speaks to, it was too inconvenient, maybe, to look at, or it was really not the focus of the intention of this affidavit and the investigation that follows. On the extreme end, it speaks to selective investigations and prosecutions, if this was overlooked.
I hear what you are saying, Commissioner Baloyi. If you grant me the opportunity during the tea, just because I know I get briefings,
Yes.
I'm not going to absolve myself and just agree that I may not have been briefed, I may not recall.
Yes.
But at no stage was there any instruction from my office that any part of any of these matters should not be dealt with.
Yes.
So I will come back after tea. I will be able to talk to at least one of the team members.
Okay, to find out
about
what
it.
happened with this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because for us to draw the conclusions as they currently are,
Yes.
I would be remiss if I do not have proper information, and I will come back
All right.
with that information if you'd grant me that opportunity.
Okay, no, that's fine. I think it's a fair request. We can do that when you come back. Maybe I might as well follow up with this question. When you say you were getting briefings from your team, who is that team? Who gets to give you briefings? Because at some point it may be important to find out from those members what briefings exactly did they give you that on the face of it appears to have kept you in the dark or to have been selective about what it is they tell you, and worse, that they may have misled you, right? So who is the team that we should look to if we want to know what briefings were they giving to you on these matters?
In the main, it would have been Advocate Ramsamy, because she, when I talk of the prosecutors, Advocate Manilal had been vested with other matters, for example, the Transnet matters chair. He was quite busy, but she was the prosecutor who directly engaged the investigators and myself. It would have been Mr. Perumal,
Okay.
Mr. Padiachi,
Okay.
Mr. Mlambo, Mr. Charles Eels,
Okay.
and Mr. Tlale would also, as the project manager, from time to time be in those briefings. And the combinations varied, Chair, in terms of the availability of the members and what they needed to brief on.
Yes.
But that was and Mr. Rapeso, till a point, yes.
Yes. And would there have been instances where you get briefings from, and accept that the variations of the teams at any one time when they brief you would be different? So I don't expect that all of them would have been together. But would there have been instances where you get briefings, say you have received briefings from Chief Perumal in the absence of the others?
That would have happened, yes.
You would have had those kind of instances. Yes. And in those briefings, did Chief Perumal inform you or brief you that he has taken statements from Mr. Adams and in the absence of the other members, the other two, Rapesu and Ramsame?
No,
You never came to know about that?
Never came to know about that, and that is why yesterday when I was faced with two different sets, I was faced with them for the first time.
Okay.
And I did indicate when the Perumal statements, for lack of, would have been taken versus chair when the Rapeso, I cannot tell you whose one is correct, because that is me, I cannot make that assumption, given they were all together. So, of course, the commission will make the relevant finding when everybody has testified, but I was faced with that yesterday for the first time.
Okay. I accept that for our conversation. The Perumal statements, and I guess the question applies also to the Rapesu statements. The Perumal statements, have you seen them before this commission, before you came? Have you seen them before this commission, before you came to testify here? Did you see the statements that he took? And I'm not asking about whether you knew at this point that they may well be made-up statements, but had you seen these statements before?
No, Commissioner.
You had never?
No.
Okay.
I was made aware that statements had been taken from Mr. Adams on the 6th of January in the presence of the three of them, Rapeso, Ramsamy, Perumal.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Johnson. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Perhaps to close out on the discussion you just had with Commissioner Baloyi, I think this is file 3 now, and that's a transcript before the ad hoc committee. Got it. And in particular, I'm interested in page 589. Now, in relation to the paragraph 5 of Mr. Adams's affidavit, that first part, where Mr. Adams indicated that he suspected that some funds were being unlawfully taken from the secret fund and given to the police minister. Just bear with me. Let's start at page 587.
Perhaps for clarity, former minister.
Former minister, indeed, Chair.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Chair. Former minister. Let's start at 587, at the top of 587. This is a question from Mr. Ngola, and he asks, I quote, "Is it part of Adams' complaint that there was apparently a motor vehicle that was procured unlawfully through the PKTT funds, which is privately used by alleged former Minister Cele?" Your response is not about a vehicle for the previous minister, no. He asks, is it not a part of the complaints? You say not that aspect. Which aspect then is part of the complaint? Because the paragraph 5 simply says there's a suspicion that funds are being taken from the secret fund and given to the former minister, Beki Cele. So it would appear Mr. Ngola had an idea that funds may have been used to purchase a vehicle from former Minister Cele, and you clarify that is not part of the complaints. You said not that aspect.
Because
So that would suggest that there is a complaint regarding the unlawful use of the secret funds, but for a different purpose to benefit Minister Cele.
I understood that funds were allegedly taken to benefit, the former minister. When I say not that aspect, it is not clear from Adam's statement what the funds would have been used for.
Yes.
And that was my stipulation. because I couldn't determine from what we had that a vehicle had in fact been procured for the former minister, even if the allegation that secret funds were taken and used for him and or given to him, I couldn't say with certainty or any clarity that it was about a vehicle.
So I shouldn't understand your response to ad hoc to mean not the aspect of buying a vehicle for former Minister Cele, but for another aspect or other aspects which I don't disclose. Am I understanding you correctly?
That is correct.
Now, it is the other aspects that you did not disclose that I'm interested to hear about.
So, and that goes to the question that, or the request I made to Commissioner Baloyi for me to be able to get clarity, because I go only on what he said about the secret funds, and I would just require that detail of what those aspects, if any, have been brought to date. But at that time, I didn't have details of aspects, Chair.
So, I hear your response. Considering your changed status with the institution IDAC, would you be able to access documents relating to these matters as a matter of interest?
I can make a request through Mr. Maga to Mr. Sissoko, and he is very helpful. If he's able to trace them, Chair, he will most certainly do.
So okay.
In fact, I did, off the record, speak to him yesterday to indicate that we might have to work through him, given that I do not have access to the documentation or documentation that might be required. So I'll do that through Mr. Maga.
Understood. Let's move then to page 589 of the same transcript. And it's on the same topic. This now is a question from Ms. T. Sokanyile. And the question is, Advocate Johnson, on paragraph 29 of your sworn statement, you indicate that the key challenge in relation to CI is the use of funds. What and where are the gaps in relation to this accountability? Can you reflect on that? Your response states, and I quote, this would have arisen from previous investigations that were done and not in IDAC. Can you tell us? My understanding is the concerns around the abuse of secret funds doesn't arise from any investigations done by IDAC, but that there had been previous investigations. I don't know if those investigations established the abuse of the funds. So if you could just shed more light on that, because beyond that, you then talk about the checks and balances that are necessary in the Auditor General's office to properly regulate and audit the use of these funds and the like.
Correct. Chair, there weren't such investigations at the time in IDAC, but there had been investigations previously in other law enforcement agencies, but where, amongst others, the Directorate Special Operations, DSO, or colloquially the Scorpions. These matters arose way back in 2006, 2007, when Advocate Harry Nell and I prosecuted the corruption matter of the late Police Commissioner Jackie Selebi. It was in that process that we first came to understand that there was use and abuse of the Secret Service funds. Fast forward a few years later, there were investigations then launched against the previous divisional commissioner, one Mr. Richard Mdluli. And these matters, the Mdluli matter is currently a part-heard matter in the Johannesburg High Court. It just took a long time. There were legal representation issues. And then one matter that had then since been finalized also in the misappropriation and use of the slush funds, was charging the CFO of of Crime Intelligence, Major General Solly Lazarus, who was found guilty, Chair, and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. Advocate Nell and I had also been vested with that matter, but close to its completion, I had stepped down as I had been reassigned to another office. The Mdluli matter is within the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in Pretoria, but there were IDAC investigators, prosecutors that assisted in prosecuting that matter as it currently stands. So that is where my direct knowledge came from. It is from prosecutions that we conducted.
Can I just clarify, even if it's just for information? It wasn't clear to me in your ad hoc committee transcript about your testimony about Lazarus, who is now serving prison term. At some point, I got the impression that he was CFO of the SAPS. Was he Crime Intelligence?
He was the CFO of Crime Intelligence,
Okay.
Commissioner Baloyi.
Okay, and the conviction is about his use of Crime Intelligence, because there was somewhere you spoke about a vehicle, a tender
There was
of vehicles, and then him getting a vehicle for himself and for his daughter, and I got the impression that's as far as it went.
It was
it more than that?
About the slush funds. It was fraud and corruption. And I didn't finish off with the matter, so I'm not sure what all he was finally convicted of, but
Okay.
he was convicted.
But the charge was about use of the slush fund.
Use of the slush funds. That's how it initially started.
Okay.
How the prosecution ended
All right, thank you,
might be different, yes.
thank you.
And these cases you reference, thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. These cases you reference were all investigated, if I understand, in the first part of 2000s.
From 2006 onwards, yes.
Are any of them, those investigations, fairly recent, let's say in the last 5-6 years, that you are aware?
Not that, I wouldn't be aware only because any of those matters then would have happened before the advent of the ID in 2019. And if there were such matters, Chair, they would have gone to the DPCI, the Directorate Priority Crimes Investigations, to deal with those matters, as it would also fall within their serious economic offenses and their serious corruption mandate. So one would have to check there. I would like to think that even if there were matters prior to the advent of the ID, they would have gone somewhere for them to have been considered. And that would have been the only place they could have gone to, as they had the previous DSO mandate.
No, thank you. You recall that
If at the time of this testimony, which has been quoted here, if IDAC were investigating Mr. Adams's allegation of funds being used for the benefit of former Minister Cele, that would have been an investigation that you would have